What is going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of NAS100 analysis today, and we're going to pick up from where we left off in regards to the analysis that I did last week. I believe the content that I'm going to be sharing with you today you are going to find very useful. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like, right? So with that covered, we're going to get straight into it. Now before I do that, I kind of need to tidy up this area up a little bit. We just need to clean it up a little bit. Okay, so we're just going to leave just this one here, and then we're going to add a new one in for last week, which was the moves that I was kind of talked about. So these were the areas that I pointed out. We had the break, and obviously the opportunity presented itself, right? Okay, cool. So let's lock this in place. Right. So, on the last video, obviously, everything that's taking place in this area had not happened, and we were mainly looking at this section over here. Right? So, one of the things that I called out was, I didn't think that this weekly high, the previous week, would have been taken out, and it was not taken out. And however, the weekly low was taken out. So essentially, it was a really easy week in terms of trading if you was able to take advantage. So what I basically did last week is the same thing that I've always been doing. I waited for the break to take place, so that we had the break over here, right? And this whole area here was a bit of a guess. So what I ended up doing was I took a sell from this area over here, right? Then it came out, it almost closed me out. Right? So then it pushed down some more on the Tuesday. So I brought in a trading stop, and then I was taken out as it pushed back up again. And then obviously it went really high. So a part of me was like, you know what, I should have jumped out a lot earlier, but I got away with a little something, okay? Then I saw this on the Wednesday. This move right here. Right, this move right here on the Wednesday. So I saw this move on the Wednesday. As soon as this low right here was taken out, because remember, reason why I was confident in taking a sell from this area over here is because no weekly high had been taken out. So as far as I'm concerned, it was still a downtrend, right? It was still a downtrend, and I was uncomfortable in how I placed my sell in this area. So the sell that I placed on a what is this? On I'm trying to see the days actually. So the sell that I placed on the Monday morning, the Tuesday morning, I was uncomfortable with. So I got out a little bit early because I was a little bit afraid in terms of how I was sitting in that position. On the Wednesday, I got the signal I was looking for, which was we had a bit of a rising flag, right, or a rising wedge. I targeted this area. If price went below this area over here, I was going to lock in sells over here, right? And that's exactly what I did. I locked in the sell right here, and I rolled it all the way down, and I got off around this location on the Thursday. So on the Thursday, I was taking out around over here. Right, I actually tell a lie, it was a little bit higher than that because I had a trailing stop. So I'll say I got taken out about this level right here, right? Because once it pushed all the way down, I then brought in my trailing stop to cover this wick over here. So let me just zoom in so that you can see. So once price pushed all the way down, I brought in a trailing stop to cover this previous high over here, in hope that it wasn't going to go above it. And then it pushed up, then boop, it went up and then took me out. And that was pretty much it. And then on the Friday, I just left it as it is. I didn't do anything. I didn't get back in the market. I just left everything as it was, right? Okay, so moving forward now, we kind of need to mark out new areas of interest over to us, right? Because things have changed a little bit. So we kind of need to keep an eye as to what's changed and what we need to be mindful of, okay? So first things first, let's get in the weekly high. So this is the weekly high, and the weekly high was set on the Tuesday, right? So just in case you can't see it, let me just zoom in, so at least you're able to see why I'm saying. So this wick over here, this set the weekly high. This one right here, that's why we've put the level on the top where it is. So that was the weekly high. And then this level right here is the weekly low, right? Now, how I like to draw out my weekly highs and my weekly lows is I include the wicks, right? So some people will just include just the body, right? Some will include the body, some will include the wicks. I always include the wicks, right? So if you was just to include just the body, then it's fair to assume that this is it right here. This whole level right here is the high, right? But because I include the wicks, this in fact for me would be the high, right? So let me just put labels on this so at least we know what we're looking at. So we put weekly high and then we put weekly low. Weekly low. Okay, so now that we got these two in place, another thing as well that I mentioned last week in last week's video was that I believe that there was going to be a bounce at this level. That didn't take place, right? I had good reason to believe that it could have bounced from this level and started to push up, right? Because it was something that I saw in my last week's analysis during that week, right? But however, I didn't talk about it in the previous video, and it didn't happen in the last week anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think it's going to happen based on what I'm seeing right now anyway. So we're just going to get rid of that because that's now being violated. There's no reason for that to be there. So now we're going to look at what we've got going on in this area right now. So we have the weekly high up here, we have the weekly low down here. Let's move this back a little bit because this was for last week, right? And at the moment we have an interesting shape in this area right here right now, right? We have an interesting shape. So as it stands, this is how this looks to me. This is how this looks to me, right? It looks like it's a bit of a squeeze, and it can blow off in either direction. So obviously, I'm not giving you financial advice and I'm not a financial advisor, so I'll tell you to exercise caution in this area. Exercise caution in this area, okay, with the big move meaning that one of these levels gets taken out. So either a weekly high gets taken out or the weekly low gets taken out. The one to most likely get taken out would be what takes place the previous week, right? So it would be one of these that will be taken out. Right, so with that in mind, that is what we want to keep an eye out for. Which one is going to get taken out, and if it does get taken out, then we know how we kind of need to play it. So a little bit like this situation over here, it comes in, it takes it out, right, and then we now need to wait to see what it does when it pushes up. Then when it pushes up, we just find a little zone in that whole area. So for me, how I planned last week was really simple, hence why I was able to take the trade that I did and how it went really well. So I took it from using this area as a signal and I got in right under, meaning I took these candles on the hour, right? So it's really simple. So what happened was price came in under the weekly low, pushed back up again, then came back down again, right? So the first trade that I did was all over the place. It wasn't on point, right? But however, we're learning all the time, right? So I'm going to focus on how I was able to identify this area over here and not supposing to what I did on the Tuesday morning, because that was just all over the place. I woke up and just FOMO'd and just took a position, and luckily for me, it kind of worked out. It just kind of worked out, right? So what I did was we marked out all the lows. So this is the low over here, and then we marked out the high, right? So we marked out the high and we marked out the low, and we know price is in this zone, right? Price is in the zone. If I want to sell, so if I wanted to sell, I would be selling from up here, and if I wanted to buy, I'll be buying from up here. But taking a buy from down here, right, is a stupid idea. Why? Because we can already see that new weekly highs are being set and they're going down lower and lower and lower, and the weekly lows are being taken out. So you would not be looking to be taking any form of buyers up here. You'll only be looking for sells up here, right? Okay, so if I was unsure about what was happening in the market. And I'll be honest with you, I was unsure until I saw this wedge over here. So when I saw this wedge beginning to form, then I knew that it was really simple. It was really simple how I needed to plan my trades, right? Because once this started to form, once this area here over here started to form, right, it was really straightforward, because essentially all the lows are over here. So all price had to do was close below this level after seeing this, and I would have known that it was going to keep pushing down. And luckily for me, soon as it closed, soon as this candle closed, what happened? Price started to push up. So it gave me a bit of a discount. In all fairness, I should have waited for this one, to be fair, but obviously you don't know, innit? You don't know. So I waited for price to push up, and I got it somewhere around here, locked in nicely, and then I just rolled it all the way down. All the way down. It was a no-brainer, and that's how that was done. And that is how I aim to play it for this week coming. Week commencing the 30th of October. Right, so that's how I plan on playing it. And just really simple is I'm waiting for either a weekly low to be taken out, or the weekly high, which is up here, this right here, to be taken out. One of the two. So we're just going to zoom back out real quick, and I'm just going to put in some price points for you guys, so at least if you're just catching this video now, you can then obviously just look at what it is that I'm talking about, and then make your decisions. And remember what I said when it left this zone, I told you it's going to be heading back down to this level before it decides if it's going to blast back up here again. So we want to keep an eye on what it does as it gets closer and closer to this level, and the weekly low is just underneath that. So the chances of it taking out the weekly low, it is quite high in my opinion, but obviously only time will tell. So price point. So price point for the weekly low that you want to keep an eye on, right? And this is a zone that you just want to be mindful of, and that will be 14,051.1. And the weekly high is 14,854.9, right? So if either one of these is taken out, just position yourself accordingly. So with that covered, guys, I'm going to leave the video here. Thank you for coming over to watch another episode of NAS100 analysis today. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like if you found the content useful. Also, check out the description as well, right? Obviously, there's a link in there for TradingView. I benefit, you benefit if you hit that link. I also put together a blog post with a whole bunch of books that have helped me with my trading journey. These are the books that I find most useful, and I continue to read up to today, and I recommend you give them a look if you haven't done so. And obviously, if you buy them, the physical copy, you get to keep it forever, right? And finally, also in the description, there's a link in there to pick up a bot, right? Build your own bot within that package. So if you're interested in that, go in there, take a look, pick it up, and obviously use it. It's all for your benefit. It's only going to help you in the long run, right? And that's basically it. So with all of that covered, abundance to you all, and I wish you the best of luck with your trades for next week. And for now, this is Pips and Points signing out.